Hey there, Sean Terry here. Welcome back to Ask Flip2Freedom. Hashtag Ask Flip2Freedom. What we're doing, people go out and ask their question on Ask Flip2Freedom in either Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. We take the questions, put them together, and the ones that are very similar, and we will make a show and answer your question. Now, today's questions comes from Glenn Meary, and he says, what are some methods you use to find homeowners that have vacant homes with the same address? So they have a vacant house at 123 Main Street, and their mailing address is 123 Main Street, their tax address is 123 Main Street, and they're vacant. What do you do? How do you find them? Any recommendations on skip tracing companies? All right. So, yes, and yes. And here's what we do. In that particular case, we would go to a site called Ben Verified, B-E-E-N, verified.com, benverified.com. You can sign up for an account. I don't know, I think it's $29, something like that. Sign up for an account, and you can type in the address and pull all the information on that property, who the owner is, what their previous address was, potentially their email address, phone number, relatives, uncles, brothers, sisters, cousins, everything and above. So what it will do is enable you to pull everything you need to do to find this particular person. So there's a couple different things. Number one is using Ben Verified, right? Or going to the house. I'll tell you a couple different stories. I got this one house in a great part of Phoenix. It was vacant. This was before Ben Verified. I think even, this is 2003. So this was internet. No one was using the internet. It was like AOL, right? Remember that? So you probably don't. So the bottom line is that I went to the house and I didn't have Ben Verified or anything online. So I went to the neighbor, right? Next door. And I went and nobody was there. And I went to the other neighbor next door. And I went across the street, nobody was there. And then I went to the other neighbor, and she was in her garage, sweeping out her garage. And I said, hey, do you have any idea about this house next door? And she goes, oh yeah, the owner lives in California. He took off and just kind of left the house. He went through this big nasty divorce and blah, 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 right? As she's sweeping out the garage. And I said, well, I'm interested in buying it. We're looking for a house in this neighborhood. Would you happen to have his number? And she goes, oh, by the way, I do. She pulled out a piece of paper, took the number, I wrote it down, took the information. I called the guy up and said, hey, would you like to sell your house? He said, how much? We came to an agreement and we contracted the house. He was in California, got on our contract, found a buyer, flipped it, and made like $30,000 on a deal. All because I went to the neighbor and talked to the neighbor. Another house, right? The actual house was vacant, went to the neighbors, and found out that the guy lived in Japan, right? So I hunted the guy down, got his number in Japan, and talked to the neighbor, got all the information in Japan, woke up at like 3 a.m, called the guy in Japan, got the house under contract, got it up and going, got that deal done. I think I made $10,000 on the deal. Recently, I also did a 100+ unit apartment complex. We couldn't find the owner of the property, right? Same address, same thing, whatever. So we turned around, skipped trace, found the owner, found where they lived. I actually went to the guy's house. And at the time, he had contractors at his house putting sunscreens on his house. I went up and went and said, hey, is the owner home? And they go, no, he just left. I said, well, I'm looking to see if I can buy his apartment complex. Do you have to have his number? And he goes, yeah, I got his number. Gave me his name, gave me his number. I called him and said, hey, I know you have a 100-unit apartment complex. Would you be interested in selling? He said, sure. And we contracted it, got the property. It's over a $4 million property. Turned around and flipped it and made a huge chunk of change. Why? Because we found a property that was in distress, found the owner through Ben Verified, contacted them. We actually drove out to the guy's house and did what most people won't do, is take the next step. Go the extra mile to go out and get that deal. So the bottom line is you can use Ben Verified. Also, don't be afraid to drive to people's houses. Don't be afraid to drive to an uncle, brother, sister's, mom, brother's house and say, hey, you know what? There's a house over here, it's owned by just, so-and-so, and I'd like to see if I can buy it and see if I can get some cash in their hands. And guess what? you know what? Most people will be helpful and they'll try to help you get in contact with someone to be able to get that house sold. All right, so hope that is helpful, Glenn. Anyone else wanted to ask any questions, go to Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. Use the hashtag AskFlip2Freedom, and I'd be happy to answer your question. Until next time, take care and God bless.